A worker in a Chinese factory is standing near a massive industrial fan when things take a horrifying turn. With no guard, no grate, and nothing to keep her safe, she gets pulled toward the blades and is sucked straight into the spinning machinery. The scene is chaotic as people rush over, realizing the fan was left completely exposed. It's the kind of setup that feels unreal. A factory filled with huge fans but zero protection. A simple metal grate, a few bolts, and basic safety checks could have prevented a life-threatening incident. When equipment this powerful is left unguarded, one step too close can become a disaster. In Magnitogorsk, Russia, a truck carrying a gas cylinder pulls too close to a concrete wall, and one small impact triggers a massive problem. The cylinder slams into the wall, the valve gives way, and in an instant the pressurized tank ruptures. A violent blast of gas shoots out, sending debris flying and shaking the entire area. The force is powerful enough to stun everyone nearby. Incidents like this show how dangerous pressurized cylinders become when they're not secured or handled with precision. One hit, one damaged valve, and the whole load can turn into a high-pressure explosion. An inexperienced driver loses control the moment he hits the gas, and everything spirals in seconds. He shoots forward and slams straight into a homeowner sitting near the driveway, sending the man crashing to the ground. Instead of stopping, the car keeps rolling and smashes into the wall. Then, in a panic, the driver throws it into reverse and backs straight into a bus behind him. It's chaos from start to finish, but somehow the homeowner survives the hit. Moments like this show how dangerous inexperience and panic can be behind the wheel. One wrong move can set off a whole chain of collisions. In China, a major bridge suddenly gives way, collapsing in a massive break that leaves everyone stunned. Authorities later reveal what triggered the disaster: cracks forming deep inside the nearby mountainside. Water from a nearby reservoir had been seeping in, weakening the rock layer by layer until the entire slope shifted. That hidden instability pushed directly into the bridge's foundation, causing it to fail without warning. It's a stark reminder that infrastructure doesn't only rely on steel and concrete, the land beneath it matters just as much. When the ground gives up, even the strongest structures can come crashing down. Boilers and pressure vessels look solid from the outside, but inside they're holding massive amounts of heat and pressure. When safety is ignored, a faulty valve, weak metal, bad maintenance, or trapped steam, that pressure builds with nowhere to go. And then it happens, a sudden violent explosion that sends metal, fire, and debris flying with the force of a bomb. Entire rooms can collapse in seconds, leaving workers in life-threatening danger. This is why boiler safety isn't optional. Regular inspections, tested relief valves, proper training, and strict operating protocols are the only things that keep a high-pressure system stable and prevent a catastrophic blast. At a natural gas filling station, several cars are lined up as usual when one of them suddenly shows signs of trouble. Pressure inside its tank spikes without warning, and then it happens. The car erupts in a powerful blast, sending debris flying across the station. A worker nearby is struck by the force, and others immediately sprint in to detach the remaining vehicles from the filling points before the situation gets even worse. Incidents like this show how dangerous pressurized fuel can be when something goes wrong. Pressure checks, proper maintenance, and emergency protocols are the only things standing between routine refueling and a critical explosion. A worker is breaking down a chimney from an upper floor, chipping away piece by piece. But with every hit, the structure gets weaker, and so does the floor beneath him. Suddenly, the chimney gives way, and the extra weight forces the floor to collapse right under his feet. He falls through, and the chimney follows instantly, crashing down on top of him. The impact is severe, and the scene turns chaotic. It's a harsh reminder that when you're demolishing anything overhead, the floor you're standing on has to be just as solid. One misjudged structure can bring everything down at once. A truck is pulling a newly constructed section of a bridge onto a transport platform, trying to shift the massive structure into position. Everything looks steady at first, but the weight isn't balanced the way everyone thinks. As the truck pulls forward, the entire bridge section begins to tilt. Then suddenly, the whole thing collapses sideways and drops straight into the water below. Workers rush to the edge in shock, realizing how quickly tons of steel and concrete can give way when the load isn't secured properly. One miscalculated pull, one unstable platform, and the whole operation goes underwater. At a construction site, two cranes team up to lift an excavator out of a ditch, a high-risk move that demands perfect coordination. But as the load rises, the ground beneath them starts giving way. One crane tilts first, pulling the other off balance, and within seconds both machines collapse straight into the ditch. The excavator, the cranes, and the entire setup come crashing down in a tangled mess of steel. It's a brutal reminder that unstable ground, improper load planning, and rushed lifts can take down even the biggest machines. When support fails, everything above it fails too. A worker is sorting through a stack of heavy tiles, not realizing how unstable the pile has become. As she shifts one piece, the entire stack tips and collapses toward her. In an instant, the tiles crash down onto her leg, pinning it under the weight. The pain is immediate, and the injury is severe, a fracture happening right on the spot. It's a stark reminder that even simple material handling can turn dangerous when loads aren't secured. One unstable stack, one wrong move, and a normal task becomes an emergency. A massive tower of soft drink crates is stacked high in a warehouse, looking stable but hiding a dangerous imbalance. As haulers work nearby, the stack suddenly shifts, and then the whole tower collapses. A crushing wave of crates and bottles comes crashing down, burying the workers beneath the weight. The scene turns chaotic as others rush in to pull them out. Moments like this prove that even lightweight products become hazardous when stacked too high or secured poorly. One unstable tower can turn a routine haul into a dangerous, suffocating collapse. Two men nearly lost their lives while mixing chemicals, thinking it was just another routine task. But the moment the substances combined, a violent reaction kicked off. Fumes bursting out, pressure building, and the mixture erupting with explosive force. Both workers were thrown back, overwhelmed by the blast and toxic vapors. It's a chilling reminder that chemical work leaves zero room for guesswork. Proper labeling, controlled environments, PPE, and knowing exactly what you're mixing are non-negotiable. One wrong combination can turn a simple job into a life-threatening emergency in seconds. Lifting safety has rules for a reason. Check the ground, watch the weather, gear up the rigger, use taglines, follow signals, and never lift without a permit. But at this site, all those precautions were ignored. A crane is lifting an excavator when its arms suddenly bend under the strain. In a split second, the entire machine slips free and drops straight into the ditch below. Workers rush in as the lift turns into chaos, realizing that one missed safety step can make an entire operation collapse. When the basics aren't followed, even the strongest equipment can fail, and the results are instantly dangerous. At a cargo loading site, two workers are organizing items on the back of a truck. One is tossing packages down to the ground while the other arranges boxes inside. Everything seems routine until one throw goes wrong. The worker doesn't see someone walking by and the package hits the passerby. The impact isn't severe this time, but it easily could have caused an injury or damaged the equipment. It's a reminder that shared work areas demand awareness, not just focus on your own task. Without communication and coordination, even a simple toss can turn into an unexpected accident. A truck-mounted crane is lifting a massive rock when something goes wrong fast. As the boom swings toward a nearby trench, the weight of the load pulls the entire setup off balance. The truck doesn't stand a chance, the arm keeps tipping, the center of gravity shifts, and the whole vehicle is dragged straight toward the trench. In seconds, both the truck and the rock go down together in a violent collapse. It's a harsh reminder that heavy lifts need perfect balance, solid footing, and strict control. One wrong swing, and the load can take the entire machine with it. A car's dash cam is rolling on a quiet road when something terrifying unfolds overhead. From an under-construction bridge above, a massive concrete section suddenly breaks free. In the footage, you see it drop straight toward the road with incredible force, slamming down just moments after a worker below loses footing. The impact is violent, sending dust and debris flying everywhere. It's a shocking reminder that construction zones above active roads demand strict structural checks and secure work platforms. When concrete fails from that height, there's no reaction time, and the danger to anyone below is instant. At a construction site, a worker is checking an underground pipe when something unimaginable happens. A sudden pressure differential kicks in, creating a powerful vacuum inside the line. Before he even realizes what's happening, he gets pulled toward the opening and is sucked in with incredible force. The scene turns chaotic as nearby workers rush over, stunned by how fast the pressure change took hold. It's a jaw-dropping reminder that underground systems can hide massive forces, and without proper isolation, testing, and safeguards, one unexpected surge can turn routine maintenance into a life-threatening emergency. An excavator is tugging at a wall, trying to bring it down piece by piece, but the operator misjudges the structure's stability, and instead of a controlled collapse, the entire wall suddenly gives way. It falls outward and crashes straight onto the road. A motorcyclist passing by at that exact moment gets caught under the falling debris, turning a routine demolition into a terrifying emergency. This is exactly why demolition zones must be sealed off and traffic kept far away. One wrong pull, one uncontrolled collapse, and anyone nearby is instantly at risk. A group of workers is gathered on a construction site when the unthinkable happens. A multi-story structure beside them suddenly gives up, collapsing floor by floor in a split second. But it doesn't stop there. The fall creates a domino effect, and the adjoining building starts to crumble right after it. Dust explodes into the air as concrete and steel come crashing down, and the workers sprint for their lives, barely escaping the chain reaction collapse. It's a terrifying reminder that unstable construction zones must be checked, secured, and reinforced. When one structure fails, everything connected to it can follow. A truck rolls onto a small wooden bridge, the kind that was never meant to handle real weight. For a moment it holds, then the boards start cracking. In an instant, the entire bridge gives up under the load, collapsing straight down. The truck drops with it, crashing into the water below as the structure disintegrates around it. The driver scrambles to react while debris splashes everywhere. It's a harsh reminder that bridges, platforms, and crossings must be rated for the loads they carry, because when the support fails, everything on top goes with it. A woman is walking calmly along a sidewalk, completely unaware of the danger hiding just behind a wall. A bus is parked on the other side, but without warning it suddenly lurches forward. The impact shatters the wall, sending bricks and debris crashing outward. The falling section collapses right onto the woman, knocking her down and leaving her seriously injured as people rush in to help. It's a shocking reminder that parked vehicles must always be secured. One unexpected movement can turn a simple sidewalk stroll into a dangerous emergency. This lift was doomed from the start. Someone chained the load to just one fork, guaranteeing the forklift would be completely off balance the moment it moved. As the operator raises the load, you can see it start to tilt, but no one steps in, no one calls out, and the driver doesn't realize what's happening. Seconds later, the forklift tips over and comes crashing down onto a worker standing nearby, leaving him with extremely severe injuries. This is exactly why loads must be centered, drivers must stay alert, and spotters must speak up. One unbalanced lift can bring the entire machine down. In a text-classified zones, even the smallest spark can trigger a massive explosion, and cold weather makes it worse, because frozen equipment tempts workers to use unsafe heating methods. In this incident, one spark is all it takes. A powerful blast erupts, sending 2 workers flying as the entire area lights up in a chain reaction. It's a harsh reminder that explosive atmospheres demand strict discipline, no improvised heat, no unapproved tools, and zero shortcuts. When the environment is primed for ignition, one tiny mistake can turn into a violent, life-threatening emergency. Inadequate rigging without edge protection. That's a disaster waiting to happen. A crane is lifting a massive metal piece using a strap that's already rubbing against a sharp edge. No padding, no protection, just hope. And then it happens. The strap snaps under the pressure, and the metal piece drops in a split second, swinging down and missing a nearby worker by inches. One more step in the wrong direction, and it could have been a life-threatening impact. Rigging needs edge guards, proper slings, and real inspection, because one cut strap is all it takes for the load to come crashing down. Lithium-ion batteries may look harmless, but when thermal runaway kicks in, everything changes fast. Excess heat builds, chemicals react, and the battery can no longer control its own temperature. In seconds, one cell ignites the next, and the whole chain reaction turns explosive. That's exactly what happens here. A single malfunction turns an entire shop into a fireball, flames shooting across the room as people scramble to escape. It's a powerful reminder that lithium-ion storage and charging need strict safety measures. When these batteries fail, they fail violently. A concrete mixer is backing up to unload when poor planning and bad positioning set up a disaster. The ground near the excavation isn't reinforced, the angle is wrong, and no one steps in to correct it. As the mixer edges closer, the soil gives way, and the entire truck overturns straight into the excavation. Workers rush toward the pit as the massive vehicle lies on its side, dust rising everywhere. It's a clear reminder that heavy equipment and unstable ground do not mix. Proper planning, ground checks, and safe distances are non-negotiable, or the whole operation can tip over, literally. A group of workers is standing nearby as a loader dumps material into a bin where a small fire is already burning. Maybe an attempt to smother it, maybe just poor judgment. But instead of putting the flames out, the moment the material hits the bin, everything flashes out of control. A massive fireball erupts, blasting upward and sending workers scrambling in every direction. The heat, the shock, the chaos, all of it triggered by a single misstep around an active flame. This is why fire zones demand distance, proper extinguishing methods, and zero improvisation. One wrong move, and a small blaze becomes an explosion. 2 cranes are brought in to rescue a semi stuck on a mountainside, each one lifting from a different angle to try and pull it free. But as they start applying force, the balance goes completely wrong. The back end of the semi suddenly lifts into the air, the weight shifts violently, and both cranes lose control. In a split second, the entire setup collapses, the semi slams down, the cranes buckle, and metal crashes across the mountainside. It's a perfect example of how high-risk lifts demand careful planning and precise coordination. One imbalance and the whole operation comes crashing down. A crane is lifting an excavator out of a ditch, but the weight is right at the edge of what the machine can handle. As the boom swings forward, the balance tips the wrong way. In seconds, the crane nosedives, pulled down by the load, and the excavator slips right back into the ditch. Metal slams, dust rises, and the whole lift turns into chaos. This is what happens when weight limits, angles, and ground stability aren't perfectly checked. With heavy equipment, one miscalculation is all it takes for the entire operation to collapse. Compressed air isn't just about pressure, it's raw power waiting to escape. When air gets trapped inside a capsule and suddenly releases, it turns into explosive propulsion that hits harder than most people realize. This worker finds out the hard way when the capsule blasts out of his hands and launches across the area with unbelievable force. He's lucky nothing serious happened, because that kind of energy can turn a simple mistake into a life-threatening situation. Compressed air demands respect. One unexpected release and the force will do whatever it wants.